Welcome to Ask Rabbit ProRevenge, where a bully picks on the wrong person and gets a taste of his own medicine. I have some awesome stories for you today, so let's jump into it. This first post is titled, Break My Phone? You'll Pay for the Damage. Hello, wonderful people of Reddit. I have a lot of time to myself today. My friend and employer is taking the kids out for a walk, and I decided to post my own personal story of a revenge here after my friend suggested it. She also insisted on helping me with my username, so thanks for that. I was always the kid people picked on at school. The girls would spread rumors about me, and the boys would harass me nonstop. See, I'd always known I'd wanted to be a nanny. I love babysitting and looking after kids, so it seemed like a natural career choice for me. I made the mistake of telling this to a girl who I thought was my friend, and she proceeded to tell everyone at school. As this was perceived as feminine, I instantly became the target for bullies. There was one boy who loved to terrorize me. I'll call him Jack for the sake of this story. Jack was awful. He would follow me home whilst throwing things at me, vandalize my schoolwork, call me disgusting names, steal my stuff, cut my hair in class, etc. I was terrified of him. I got to the point where I couldn't sleep from the fear of having to deal with him at school the next day. I blame him and his friends for the anxiety I had, and still somewhat have to this day. I reached a breaking point not long after Christmas when I was 15. My family never had a lot of money, but we got by. My mom had saved for ages in order to buy me my first phone. No, it wasn't the newest model, but I didn't care. I was so grateful to have my first phone, and a little guilty that my mom had gone without her new Christmas outfit and had put off fixing her own phone to buy it for me. Once the schools went back after Christmas break, Jack found out about my phone. He took it from me and proceeded to read through my messages, making fun of me for the lack of contacts and telling my mom I loved her, then threw it to the floor and stomped on it in front of his friends. I was furious, upset, and devastated that this dummy had destroyed something that my mom had worked so hard to buy for me. I started planning my revenge. I knew through the grapevine that Jack's mom was a stay-at-home mom. His dad had a well-paying job, and his mother was quite happy to stay at home with the kids, who were 4-year-old twin girls. I also knew, however, that she didn't get to go out as much as she'd like, as Jack would flat out refuse to babysit, and she was pretty picky when it came to who was allowed to look after her kids. I used to babysit her friend's little boy and was pretty good at it, if I do say so myself. However, for my plan to work, I had to babysit Jack's siblings. I made a few comments here and there to the little boy's mom about wanting a few more babysitting jobs so I could save up money for my mom's upcoming birthday. As luck would have it, the lady recommended me to Jack's mom, since it had been so long since she'd been able to go out with the girls. For the next few weeks, I'd go to Jack's house, with the other little boy I was babysitting, and look after his sisters. Despite Jack's awful attitude, his family was all pretty nice. His sisters were an absolute joy to look after. Jack wasn't usually in the house, but when he was, I could see that it killed him to have to be civil to me. His mom would have flipped out if he'd been horrible to me in front of her or his little sisters, and they'd quickly have ratted him out. Once I decided enough time had passed, I put my plan into action. See, Jack was one of those creepy kids that liked to brag about his adult magazine stash in his bedroom. This made him cool to his friends. Never understood why, to be honest. Anyways, every time I babysit and put the little ones to bed, I'd sneak into his bedroom and search around. I know this is a massive invasion of privacy, but I was a stupid 15-year-old kid and couldn't take his bullying anymore. I eventually found his stash and made a mental note that they were in a bag in his closet. I'd been observant those few weeks, so I knew that Jack's mom and dad had an unopened bottle of vodka in the fridge. They didn't drink a lot, and it was only for when they were going to parties. One night, once the little ones were asleep and Jack was out with his friends, I went to the fridge, opened the bottle of alcohol, and tipped out about a quarter of it down the sink. His parents could afford to buy a new one, by the way. If they couldn't, I'd never have done it. And snuck up to Jack's bedroom and hid the bottle in the same bag as his stash. His parents found out about it not too long after, and after Jack had accused me of taking it, they showed up at my door. They weren't angry because they still didn't know who had taken it, so they asked me some questions. I denied everything but was polite and even offered to help them look for it in case it had been misplaced. They thanked me but told me that it was fine, they'd find it. And oh boy, did they find it. I was called over the next day to take the little ones to the park for an hour or so in order for them to have a talk with Jack. They didn't like arguing in front of the twins, it had frightened them. When I got back, Jack was in his bedroom. If the noises were anything to go by, he was crying. It turns out that he'd ratted himself out. His parents found the bottle of alcohol in his room along with his adult magazines. His mother hated anything like that as she found it to be degrading to women. She humiliated him by gossiping to the neighbors about his unhealthy obsession with sex. He denied everything but accused me of planting the alcohol there. When asked why I'd do that, he ratted himself out, saying that it was payback for him breaking my phone. His parents flipped out. They had no idea their son was such a bully. They took away his phone, grounded him, and made him sell his games console to pay to get my phone fixed. I had been saving up the money myself for a few weeks. His face when they made him hand me the money will stay with me forever. His parents questioned me about the bullying, eventually informing my mom as well. I'd hidden it from her and told her I dropped my phone. He got into a lot of crap at school after a few other kids came forward about the bullying they'd endured at the hands of Jack and his friends. A few of them, including Jack, got suspended. Jack's parents even made him go door to door to apologize to the people he'd tormented. I was reluctant to take the money at first as it was way over the amount it would cost to get my phone fixed, so his parents compromised and told me to take enough to at least cover the repair cost. Needless to say, with the phone repair covered, I managed to get my mom an awesome birthday gift. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that first ProRevenge story. Before we get into the next story, if you guys could please do me a huge favor and hit that like button down below. It really does help the video out. And if you could, hit subscribe so you never miss any future content. This next post is titled, I sued my boss because he fired me for wanting to attend a concert. First up, some backstory. During my gap year between studies, I decided to work for Company Inn. Company Inn was run by a husband Dave and wife Karen and their son, and basically treated their staff like a small family. All was well for about 2 months until I realized I had to ask for a day off since I wanted to attend the last Slayer concert the band would give in my country. There was about a month to go, so I sent an email asking for the day off and explaining why. This is where everything started to go downhill. I got a reply from the Karen, and her reply was weird. She stated that's not how asking for a day off works. I was confused to say the least. Not sure what to do, I thought she wanted more of a formal way of asking, so I wrote a formal email asking for the day off. She shot an email back saying that I really had to think it through what I was doing, which made even less sense to me. But I was hopeful since I never really got a specific no. The next workday rolls around. I arrived, locked up my bike, and headed inside ready for work. I immediately started looking for Dave to ask for answers. Before I could even open my mouth, he asked, "Do you still want to go to that concert?" I didn't expect him to ask this so quickly, and I answered yes. The only thing he said back was, "Okay, take off your vest and you can go home." I was stunned, and while the words started to sink in, I looked at my colleagues, which were just preparing for opening. When it finally sank in, anger flowed in. I'm not a confrontational person, so I simply took off my vest and gave it to Dave. Without a word, I left and started biking home. When I got home, I told my mother what had happened. We started sending emails for extra information and got very Karen-like emails back. After a couple emails, which went basically nowhere, I looked up the laws for immediate dismissal. After reading up about it, I learned that in my country, someone can only be immediately fired when caught stealing, frauding, the person isn't able to do the work, or refusal to do the work. I did neither of these. A day or two later, I met with my attorney and began the steps to sue Company Inn. I told my lawyer what had happened in detail, and he was very confident I was in my right and she was not. So after trading even more emails between the three of us, we went to small claims. I came prepared in a suit with my attorney in tow, and Karen showed up alone. I guess she assumed she won because she thought she was in her right. The trial began, and I was as professional and objective as I could be. Karen did the same. Well, for about half of the trial. When she realized evidence was piling up against her, she resorted to calling me a spoiled brat, among other things I don't know the English translation for. I'm safe to say that was the point the judge ruled in my favor. As per usual, I had to wait a month before I got the verdict black and white in the mail, but I won. It may have taken about 6 months from the moment I was told to go home to the point of those 6 months of pay were transferred to my bank account, but it was 100% worth it. In the end, I went to the concert. It was the most awesome and most profitable concert I have ever been to in my life. Alright, y'all, that's going to wrap up today's Pro Revenge video. I hope you enjoyed those 2 stories today. If you did, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button down below. Leave a comment letting me know which one was your favorite story today, and make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss any future content. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.